Oh, champions. Happy Saturday night or Sunday afternoon or Saturday morning or whatever it is, wherever you are. What's going on? You know what's going on here? Penny Boy's not on. So, just wanted to catch up on a bit of shit, so I thought I'd come in and work on a Sunday. Why not? No rest for the dickheads. Pardon me. This amp was a pain in the fucking ass. I'll tell you what, it was probably the worst Fender amp I've ever had. Oh, there we go. Nice and zoomed in. So, this is known as the Custom Vibrolux Reverb Amp. I don't know why they call it a reissue, because this amp has never existed, at least in its current form. So what they used is a vibroverb PCB. And they did a bunch of bastardry to it to make the custom Vibrolux reverb amp. This is a Zinky design, and it's an absolute pile of shit. People give Zinky a fair bit of credit for some of the stuff he did, but this is one of the worst amps I've ever worked on from Fender. There was so much wrong with it from the factory design that barely any of it was redeemable. I've done a lot of modifications to it to get it to the point where it is, and it threw me through a hoop. Dad went through it, I went through it, and we were down to one more problem, which was the tremolo wouldn't stop thumping no matter what we did. Now, the way the tremolo works, what am I doing? I'm doing two things at once. Hang on. Let me just get my poop in a group. Get my shit together, in other words. View channel. Live stream. Fixing stuff. Pop that up there so I can read your chat and sort of look like I'm looking at the lens almost, kind of, sort of. Tilt this up because I bumped it before. Afternoon, everyone tuning in from sunny Cairns. It's always sunny up there. I love Queensland. Goat's face griller. What's on the grill, legend? So, tremolo. This particular one doesn't have an opto trem like the historical ones did, so I don't know why they call this thing a reissue, but the tremolos on the European destined units have an issue because they won't allow any products that have cadmium in them. And the opto sensors rely on a compound called cadmium sulfide. And you're not allowed to ship that to Europe. So they had to come up with other ways to get a tremolo effect without using the opto trem. They had a horrible, super complicated circuit board mounted on the back of some units. A lot of people will just rip that out because it does have the position for the opto trem. They didn't change the circuit board in other versions, not this one. This is a bias trem, which I'll go into shortly. But yeah, common modification. Well, they often fail and they don't perform very well, and they inject noise into the circuit. So you can just snip them out and install an opto coupler, and problem solved in those ones, as long as you sort out all the other dumb shit in the amps. But the other solution they found, instead of using that super complex, overcomplicated solution, is they just went to a bias trem instead. So you can use a similar oscillator. I think it's, I forget the name, is it Colpitts? I can't remember what configuration it is, but the usual oscillator setup that would normally power the trem like you'd find in a like a Princeton reverb, various other Fender amps, but you find in other brands of amps as well, bias driven trems. Now, the way that they executed that in this one, I think because we're dealing with 6 L6s instead of 6 V6s, they probably realized that they needed more drive, a lower drive impedance for the tremolo. So they've done a cathode follower driver stage after the oscillator. Let me just find the schematic 1 second. Downloads, maybe? It's probably in a folder. There it is. Alrighty then. So, down here, we've got the oscillator here, and it's driven. There's the feedback loop, which is coming from the cathode, which is kind of weird. They've done all sorts of weird shit. It's overly complex. I think what Zinke does, or whoever designed this thing, they'd create a problem, so then they'd create a solution to that problem, but they could have just not created the problem, if you know what I mean. So there's all these band-aid solutions everywhere for all this stuff when they could have just used a more traditional Fender circuit. But I think they were trying to get, I don't know why they've used a cathode follower here, but at any rate, it works. And then that feeds into the grid via the 220k grid leaks, which you'd normally see going straight to the bias pot. This has non-adjustable bias and it's factory standard. It's got no negative feedback. There's so many issues with it. I'll go over them shortly, but this main trem issue was throwing me through a hoop. And via these 220k, it feeds a fluctuating voltage, which is the trem signal, and it mixes with the audio signal, which is coming from the phase inverter via these two coupling caps to the grid. Now, I had a slightly imbalanced voltage on the grid, so I thought, okay, well that makes sense. Maybe that's what's causing the tremolo thump. Because essentially, if you've got both of these in a push-pull, right, and you're feeding an in-phase signal, which the tremolo signal is, goes via those both 220Ks. So you're getting the same signal. This is the LFO, the low frequency oscillator. You're getting that fluctuation there on pin 5 of both of them. So it will change the bias point of the valve, but the valves won't amplify them because they'll cancel it out. Well, they will, but they'll cancel out because of the by virtue of the differential configuration of the output stage. So if you've got an in-phase signal there, they're both amplifying it, but they're trying to pull it in opposite directions. It ends up cancelling out. So although you're fluctuating the bias point of that valve, so it's going more towards cutoff, and therefore the level of the signal that it's amplifying, which is out of phase on these two grid pins, because you've got your phase inverter. So say it's in phase here and out opposite phase there. That's how the push-pull output stage works, but it's being fluctuated. The bias point's being fluctuated by the tremolo signal. So you shouldn't be getting the tremolo signal on the output, but I was getting the tremolo signal on the output in form of a thump. Now, although when I had no signal being put into the input, so get quiescent state, and then I'd turn the tremolo up, I was getting about 9 volts there and about 10 volts there AC. So that was the input signal, the LFO signal, sorry. So there was a bit of an imbalance. So what I did was put a trim pot here. So I'm varying 100k trim pot. So I'm basically balancing these two sides with the LFO signal until I get it the same on both grids. So I did that just as a last resort, and perfectly balanced, 9.5 volts exactly on both, and I was still getting thumping. And then I'd measure on the plates, 40 volts. Was it on the brown? Yeah. 40 volts RMS on this side and only 20 volts RMS on that side. So they weren't cancelling each other out. So therefore the signal was making, some of it was making its way to the speaker. But everything else on all of those pins was equal. Equal plate voltage. They were biased within, 0.5% of each other. Same screen voltage. Both the grounds were good for the cathode. Both of the heaters were good. Like literally, you'd swap the valves over, and then the problem would stay with the socket, not, it wouldn't follow that valve. So it wasn't a transconductance issue with one of the valves. Tried a new set of valves, same result. So then I disconnected the negative feedback and I swapped the plate connections over. Now the reason I disconnected the negative feedback is because if I did that without disconnecting the negative feedback, the thing would have gone into massive runaway oscillation. You may have built an amp in the past or done output transformer replacement and accidentally got the leads the wrong way around and the thing just motorboats or just goes into wild oscillation, full scale oscillation, because you've created a positive feedback loop instead of a negative feedback loop, and that's what an oscillator is. So where was I? Yeah, so I swapped the brown and blue leads over after disconnecting the negative feedback, and the problem still stayed with the valve socket. So I inspected all the pins, all of the socket contacts and everything, retensioned everything. Everything looked perfectly from a physical point of view, and I put it back in. I put the valves back in, and I was just moving them around. I'm like, there's got to be a problem with the socket. The socket itself has to be the issue. And then moving stuff around, the thumping went away. Now, I'd done all of that. Dad and I have spent hours on this amp trying to pin this down. The valve pins are properly tensioned. They appear clean, but there must be something on the surface that is affecting the conductivity on probably the grid pin. Because pushing stuff around and being a bit more aggressive with wiggling the valves around, it went away for a second. So then I went down and retensioned them again and again and again, and it went away. So I'm thinking there's some contamination on the contacts of the valve socket. Just amazing that it just wouldn't respond to any cleaning or movement or anything, and then all of a sudden it did. It's just, you think you've seen it all, bro. You think you've seen it all, and something still humbles you. So point being, I need to clean these sockets better or just replace them. I just want to find out what the hell is causing that, because now it's personal. Now I've got to reverse all the stuff I did to try and investigate, because I've disconnected stuff and run wires and all sorts of stuff. So, man, just an absolute time sink, this one. They're just the shitty Ruby valve sockets, so really don't want to replace them, because that's a lot of labor, another couple of hours that they won't want to pay for. But yeah, just can't have an easy job these days. Everything's just super complex, and nothing makes sense from a electrical point of view. Every time you think it can't be right, I can't even express myself. I'm so fucking angry. It can't be possible. This does not adhere to the fucking rules of physics. This problem shouldn't be occurring. It's because you haven't thought of something. It's you being an idiot, and in this case, that was me. Everything adheres to the rules of physics, thermodynamics. So if it seems like something's not, it's because you haven't thought of something. Yeah. Glad I finally got to the bottom of it, but I feel like we probably should have been able to do that in the first 10 minutes of looking at it, but it just didn't respond to any movement or any manipulation, or cleaning it made no difference, retensioning it made no difference. So, I mean, the contacts still, it's not like they've lost their spring. Maybe I missed a pin when I was retensioning them, I don't know. Nothing's broken. I'm going to get in there with some alcohol on a little Got these little pipe cleanery things. Would have suspected shorter turns in the output transformer. Yeah, but I swapped the primaries over and it stayed with the socket. Yeah, I suspected all that. I even tried a another output transformer. I've got a couple of output transformers here just to doubly confirm, because a lot of issues with the output transformers can be hard to diagnose, because they might only happen at very high signal, and passive and quiescent testing all indicates everything's okay, but under huge signal you might get some arc over or something, installation breakdown. So it's good to have a spare output transformer just to completely confirm that is the issue, not something else. Because it's a bit of a running gag in the is my video jumpy? I watched back the stream from yesterday and it looked like it was frame skipping, but looking here it's perfect. Not showing any drop frames, but yeah, the video looked a bit jumpy yesterday. I don't know what the go is there. How many frames? Yeah, I'm on 100 frames, shutter speed of 100th of a second, and it should be on 50 frames a second. Maybe I should change it to PAL so I can go to the native 60 frames, but I think it defaults to that. I don't know. Another thing to figure out, which I haven't got time or inclination to even look at. So what are we all up to today? So just running over a few of the other issues with this amp. The biggest issue is massive noise floor, unusable noise floor. The hang on, that pin is lower than all the others. What's that one? It's just the heater though. Looks good today. Excellent. How you going, Joshua? Replaced a set of strap pickups. Clean and set up the guitar. Is that your own guitar, Alan? It's always a bit therapeutic to work on your own instruments, eh? I've found it to be that way anyway. You know what? I think someone's replaced a pin on this. Local build. Really? Nice. Local luthier. What's their name? Yeah, so the main issue with this amp was massive unusable noise floor, huge amount of hiss, buzz, hum, all at once, despite at all control levels, like with the volume and tone and reverb all the way down, just unusable, like so loud. That was caused by the stupid way that they've linked the channels together. so that you get tremolo and reverb on both channels. They haven't done it the proper way with mixed resistors. They've just done the one wire mod, and it's shit. Dumb way of doing it. And then that's like how uninformed people modify these amps. But then Fender's like, hold my beer, I'll just build them all like that. So you can see here, the plate for V1B is connected directly to the plate for V2B. So for various reasons, that causes a large amount of noise. There's also the routing of them caused a large amount of noise. The routing of the wires, I mean. And also, all the grounds were connected to each other, literally as drawn here. On the bottom of the PCB, it just had one big fat trace connecting all the grounds together. So there was no isolation from your dirty ground of the main filters here, the 22s in parallel, so 44 microfarad reservoir capacitance, the screen grid node there, the phase inverter node and the preamp node. And all of those grounds were connected together. So that was another reason why there was some tremolo crosstalk. And where are we? It's the plate load on the Y. I'm zooming in and out quickly because I'm looking for my own benefit, not for yours. So yeah, what I did was cut the trace, broke up the grounds, and then routed them to where I want them. That reduced the trem noise as well as the hum quite a bit and buzz. The next thing is there's no negative feedback, so you get a lot of hiss from that, and it doesn't sound like any Vibrolux I've ever heard. And it didn't sound particularly good either. It sounded pretty fucking horrible, to be honest. So once I fixed all of that up, put a proper mix bus in, gave that its own plate supply, and formed basically a mix bus here before the reverb. A bit closer to how the original circuit was, but I didn't reverse all of this and do the same mix resistor and stuff, but I did tweak the reverb return values just to keep things under control a bit. The next issue was the V1 and V2 too much gain. So with the way they've mixed everything and the attenuation further on, you're either modifying everything or just throw in a pair of 12AY7. So that's what I've done. And get a bit more clean headroom out of the phase inverter. They had a 12AX7 in there, so I replaced that with a 12AT7, and that improved things quite a bit too. It's just amazing that you had to do all this to a not very old amp to make it even usable. Insanity. But, you know, them's the breaks. That's Fender, eh? This one was from the, I don't know, 2010s or something. CSR8 was the model number. Anyway, I'm searching for new pickups for my G&L Legacy since they are now gone. The original CLF pickups are no longer attainable. Are they the ones with the weird staggered design? Almost looks like a, you know, does a little 45-degree turn. His dad a qualified electronics technician. It must be great being able to get his advice on issues. Yeah, we mainly just stand around and swear at stuff, but every now and then we have a win. It's just been a lot of really difficult, elusive problems recently. You go through waves. Oh, hiccups. Every time I start streaming, get hiccups. Like you'll have 3 or 4 straightforward jobs, and then you'll have like 4 or 5 really annoying time eating ones. Yeah, Dad is a badass. Wonder if he's here. Hey Seth, how you going, man? I miss so many of these live streams. Yeah, I'd sometimes chuck up an Arvo one just so the Uroids can get a bit of stream action. Good old Uroids. Quite a few of them here. Not a big fan of these ceramic sockets at all. I never use them in my builds anymore, I don't think. Dad's funny on cam, yeah, especially when he forgets to turn the mic off when he goes for a piss. So I'll reinstall these valves and then reverse all the shit that I was doing to try and diagnose it. We'll see where we sit. Not the Z star. Yeah, that's a better word for it. Sorry, I'm not very good with words today. So in addition to all the reversal of the factory fuckery from this amp, also did a recap because there was some leaking IC caps. I know, shock horror. Oh, you fucking... Why is that not going in? Yeah, so we did a recap and did all the usual reissue stuff. Moved the grid stoppers, the screen grid resistors, and the heater balance resistors to the valve sockets. Put in some flyback diodes. Put in some heater balance resistors on the... Oh yeah, sorry, I just said that. Heater balance resistors on the valve socket. Reasonably convenient to mount them there. You can see the grid stopper underneath. 1.5K carbon film. Got 3-watt metal film. Screen grids upgraded to 1K. And the heater fuse removed and bypassed. I just ran the wire for the green grids directly to basically their connection to the choke there, and then it goes off to the other nodes. Rework some values. I'll remove that trim pot and replace those two resistors, which means I'll have to lift the board to get access to that, in which case we'll probably break more wires because they put this shitty hot glue everywhere, but it doesn't stick to the board, so it just flexes and then the wire breaks under there, and then you can't see the wire to know if it's broken or not. Oh, did I go? I did go back to the traditional reverb mix resistor, but yeah, you can see I've removed components. I've run stuff to other stuff and put jumpers in some positions and upgraded a few caps, changed some values, got some smaller bypass caps up the front end. Here's where we tap into that signal with the 100K there. Basically create a sort of standard or more traditional Fender type input there. There are some components on the bottom of the board too, which I couldn't fit on the top, or it's just more convenient to put them on the bottom. And run a couple of wires in various spots. Also up the front, don't ask me why, but they put the fucking bias supply on the pot PCB. Just more connections there unnecessarily. Anyway, I used that. Basically lifted the resistor from the other side, put a pot in series with it with an end stop resistor there to make the bias adjustable. You can see I drilled a hole down there to create another ground point. What else? A lot of solder connections that needed touching up. Some valve pins that were almost touching each other. Big solder blobs on a lot of the valve sockets. There's another one down there which I didn't get, but yeah, whatever. I've spent so much time on this thing. It's time to call it quits and get it back together, because he is repeatedly inquiring about the return date of this amp too, which is fun. But it is what it is. I'll probably be doing the same thing. Alright, Seth says, I'm making a tube tester with dual 1160 VCT power transformer that had I known what Pacific was going to do, I have used in my big tube PSU. We'll do 0 to 750 volts, plates and screens. Good shit. Yeah, that's what you need to test the big bottles. To the, you know, if you're doing a lot of SVTs, that kind of thing. Just be wary of what the voltage is before you click that switch, because you could destroy stuff. Hi Mum, hi Dad. I hate to ruin your afternoon with a live stream. You should be out there enjoying the beautiful weather. Is it nice down there or is it raining? Oh, this is that Vibrolux reissue. Yeah, Wes. This is that pain in the ass thing. Finally sorted it. So let me just restore these plate connections and we'll fire it up and have a quick listen. Just everything on this thing is so sloppy. Sloppy. Will you like them extra sloppy? So I got to lift the board again to remove that trim pot because that was a red herring. I watch these live streams like I know what any of this stuff means. That's how much I love guitar amps. Yeah, well, you sort of absorb stuff via osmosis. Actually, I'll just leave them on there for a moment because we'll test it. We've got valve socket change, because if I've got to change the valve sockets, if that didn't offer any improvement, then I want to know that before I lift that board. G'day Gelato. I don't know what's going on with the going back to the account names instead of the on-screen handles with YouTube. YouTube changes shit all the time. They always make it worse. Every time they change shit, they make it worse. Bias can come from my HP DC regulated PCU power bank. Weird heater voltages can just come from a Variac. Yeah, that's not a bad idea for the Variac. Wonder if you can get like isolation Variacs that go down to, like, instead of it just being line voltage, can you get like Variacs that go from 0 to like 10 volts? Instead of it being right down at the bottom of the range and like your potential to blow shit up if you bump it. You'll learn Brad hates all amps. Yeah. I don't hate them. They bloody pay my rent, mate. Hi, Brad and all. Any advice on learning to make my own tube amps? Yeah, start simple. Get that dopamine, brother. If you bite off more than you can chew, you'll fucking hate yourself for it later. And you'll hate amps. And you'll not enjoy it. If you start with something simple and you get simple results and you don't overcomplicate things, it'll be a much more satisfying process. Just like everyone says, man, build a champ. Just build a champ first. Get your head around what each part's called. Read up as much as you can before even embarking on it, just to know what you're looking at. And hopefully, and I mean this in a good way, hopefully it doesn't work the first time you turn it on, because then you get to go down the rabbit hole of troubleshooting. And try not to rely on internet forums and stuff, because there's so much misinformation. Almost everything I read on Facebook and advice forums is wrong, or like inaccurate. Like they haven't asked for enough information. They've just made massive assumptions. So yeah, try not to don't lean on people. Oh, my amp doesn't work. What do I do? Figure it out yourself. I get a lot of emails from people saying, oh, I can't figure out my amp. What do I do? It's like, well, what have you done so far? And it's always, I've tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas. It's like, well, fucking try something. But like, you know. Shit. Oh, I hope she gets better there, Seth. I have two isolation Variacs. I think they are both BK precision. One is 2-3 amp. The other is 4-5 amp. Is that surge? Also have 8 amp. So they're just 1-to-1. We've been going down a rabbit hole on cutting drum bearing edges. Drum bearing edges. Oh, yeah. Making drums. You making drums, bro? Alright, I can run this plate connection back around to where it was because that, as I say, was a red herring. But, you know, you got to do these things to eliminate all the possibilities. And at the end of the day, the one thing that it was is the only thing it could have been. Which is, I'm measuring that. You got sometimes if you haven't encountered a problem like that, you're not thinking straight. You're overcomplicating the thing. If you're measuring on valve pins certain voltages and then the performance of the circuit isn't matching what you're measuring, you should be looking straight at that valve socket, brother, because you can't measure the actual pin on the valve and you can't measure the actual electrode inside the glass envelope. So it could be the valve losing a connection to its pin within the envelope and you can't do fuck all about that except change the valve. Or something to do with the socket pin interaction. So that is what I should have looked at first. But sometimes you overcomplicate the thing. Like even Dad and I were talking about it. Dad was convinced that the voltage being fed from the oscillator was too high. I was convinced that the voltage not being equal on the grids. Maybe there was a transconductance problem with the valves. But all the experimentation I did basically eliminated them as possibilities, and the problem still sat there staring at me in the face. So yeah, it's always good if you have hit a brick wall and you do have the ability to talk to some pros just to see if they've experienced it, because we're talking model specific stuff and there is lots of documentation around of this amp having many different issues. But this particular one, I was on my own. However, to those blokes who I've asked, but didn't really get any response, I have now gone back to them and told them what it is, so they'll at least be able to stick it in their memory banks. Hopefully their memory's better than mine. Mine's dog shit. Alright, plate connection's back on. Everything's secure and fine and dandy. What I'll just do is just double check the dissipation. We probably want to bias it a bit cooler to give the trem some room to breathe, but we'll have a listen. We'll see what she do. Alright, remember this for me, champions. 74 points, let's say 75 ohms. 84 ohms. Man, that's a shitty transformer. 84. So 75 and 84. 75, 84. I don't trust you to remind that, so I'll write it down. Oh, already did. Okay. So we're looking at about 2.5, 2.3, 2.5, 2. Yeah, about that. I've done the bias on this before. I've played Knifey Spoony before. So I don't think I'm going to be able to repair this Rode transmitter, so wireless go to. So what I might do is send it to Rode and say, can you replace the output jack? They'll probably say either, yeah, sure, or nah, get fucked. But I've heard Rode's service department is second to none, so I might get lucky there. Maybe they might be sort of inclined to help me because I have a YouTube channel where I may or may not tell everyone about my experience with their service department. Alright, speakers in. Reattach the reverb. Give you some nice lush reverb now that that circuit's been fuckified. 1.4 ohms. Right, so that goes on that side. Red is the return. Just double check that that's got continuity. 220 ohms, yep. Sweet as. I just mentioned the bias for the first time on my Fender Blues Junior. I'm going to install adjustable bias mod soon. The current fixed bias is 112% on the first tube, 70 on the other. Wow, yeah, that does seem very unbalanced. What the first thing you might be able to do to determine if that's imbalance from possible, well, it wouldn't be leakage, but just swap the valves over and see if the problem, the imbalance follows the valves or if it follows the socket. If it follows the socket, it stays the same. You've got a problem with the amp. If it follows the valve, you need probably a good idea to get a new set of valves, because if for it to be that out of balance, if they were originally a matched pair, that's probably because one of them started to cook. And sitting in fixed bias at 110% is fucking ridiculous, but for some reason all the amp manufacturers, Fender included, seem to have got confused between the target bias for fixed bias versus cathode biased. So for some reason, all the fixed biased amps are at like 110%, which is about what you'd have a cathode biased amp, and then all the cathode biased amps are at like 12%. So, I don't know, man. Like Marshall's DSL-20, it's got EL34s, and the plate voltage is like 230 volts, and they're biased at like 12% or 20% or something. It's ridiculous. And then they'll have the DSL-401 where they're cooking the EL84s at like 150% in fixed bias, and then when you play in fixed bias, because you've got a fixed bias voltage, it goes through the roof and cooks them. Am I distorting again? Why is the fucking limiter not working? It's supposed to limit. That's its whole fucking job. If the limiter's set at -6, hey, yeah, -4, -4. Let's try that. I just changed its order. I usually do need some serious TLC, but some of their really old stuff is drop dead gorgeous when it's probably restored. Oh, you're talking the Gretsch drums. Cool. New set of valves. I suspect it's a socket, but I'll double check. Yeah, just do the swappy switcheroo, and then you'll know for sure. Having said that, the adjustable bias mod. Did you get the trim pot board from Rowan at rsdsound.co.uk? Because that's the one to get. Are you the one I suggested that to the other day? Alright, have I done anything dumb? I don't think so. Bang. Reverb down, volume down, volume down. We'll get a little bit of buzz from the lights, but when it's in its shielded cab, it'll be fine. Oh, I do have a bit of shielding back there, which I can put on there when I test it out. Got it from RSD Sound. Yeah, cool. Yeah, the Rowan's got great products there. Support his business. The voltage is really low today. It's like 236. So I'll probably bias this a bit more conservatively, because all our measurements are taken on pretty low mains. It could be a lot higher elsewhere. All right, settling down to 75 watts. What's the drop? What's the drop on the output transformer? 2.3. 2.6. So about what we were before, about 45%. So we'll see where that sits with the bias trem. Nope, the thumping's back. Okay, so all that valve cleaning and retensioning to no avail. So this is a sticky problem, champions. You hear that? What on earth is going on? It literally disappeared before. Just can't catch a break, man. How could it have come back? It was literally disappeared. It had not a hint of it, and the tremolo was working fine. Now it's back. I bet I got the same measurements I had before. I'm fucking sick of this amp, man. I'm about to throw it at the fucking wall and buy him a new one. Yep, 40 volts. Yep, 20 volts. Exact same problem as before. What the fuck is going on? It was coming and going in certain angles when manipulating the valve socket, and now it's not changing at all. See, I could change this valve socket and then it just comes back. What do I do then? I've thrown another 2 hours at it changing the valve sockets, and then wasted 2 valve sockets to no avail. But before, it was literally coming and going. Fuck me. Yes, it is a weird sound. It's a fucking shit sound. You know what it might have been? Maybe when we were losing the connection. Why would the... Just thinking for a minute. I know what's wrong with it. No, you don't. Give me that shit. Why would it stay with the socket? It stays with the socket. Swap the transformer. Stays with the socket. Swap the valve. Stays with the socket. Reroute the grounds. Stays with the socket. All the voltages are the same. No, it's not coming out of the phase inverter, because then it would follow. It would follow that side when I swapped it over at the plate, and the voltage would be different on the grids. Wes. No, it's not bleeding in. It's the same on the grids. Same on the grids, bro. Just turn that mic off because that'd be really annoying. It's fucking annoying me enough how it is. Oh, back to square one. How much time can you fucking give for free? Trying to fix a fucking amp. Before do you just work on it until you go bankrupt and then go on the dole, or that's what the customers seem to want? So yeah, we're back to no, it's no tabs for the tube pin. We just retensioned them all. If there was a fracture on one of them, you'd know about it because it would be easy to retension, unreasonably easy to push the contacts around. The other thing that's been happening recently is I've had a customer or two that if you're having trouble finding a problem, they're like, "Oh, come on, I thought you were the guru." I'm like, "I never said that." "Oh, I thought you were the go-to man. Why can't you figure it out?" It's like, I don't need to hear that. If you keep that shit up, I'll just stop answering your phone calls. Try to send an email of the trem method that I use. Check it out. I'm not going to redesign the whole trem. I can't do that. I've redesigned half this fucking piece of shit already. I'm just going to put it out there like this because I've lost too much time on it. It's so far behind. This is the last fucking thing I need right now. An amp that just won't fuck off. So you swap the valves over. The problem doesn't follow the valve. It stays with the socket. It's about half the voltage on the half the LFO signal on the plate on one side as the other, and on the grid, the actual grid, not the grid stopper, we've got perfectly even voltage on both sides. Despite that, I've put in a trim pot to adjust it, see if that changes anything. And it slightly changes the character of it, but at no point does it cancel it out. So just none of this makes any sense at all. No, I can't do this. I can't waste my fucking whole life on one amp, so it's just gonna have to go back to the customer as is. And if he doesn't want to pay the bill, he doesn't want to fucking pay the bill, even though I spent probably 3 days on it, so. Alright, what piece of shit are we going to work on next? A Classic 30. Get away from it for a bit. Yeah, tell the customer that. When they're fucking sending me emails every 3 days demanding an ETA. Everyone says that. You can't just walk away from problems. You got to solve the fucking things, because otherwise everyone gets upset at you and fucking starts to challenge you and fucking insult you and shit. Let's just plug it in quick. It's not like a musician would do any different other than turn it on and turn it up and see what's wrong with it. We have heaters, which is a common problem on these series heaters. One goes, they all go. The connection. We've got signal. Quite a bit of noise. I think we've got channel switching. No, you're not stressing me. Don't worry about it. You haven't got that power. You're a YouTube commenter. If YouTube commenters stress me, I'd be fucking out of this trade a long time ago, mate. I'll tell you what. Starting to get crackling. Just turn off the noise suppression so you can hear it. Just turn it off for a sec because it's going to clip like crazy. Alright, so we've got noise, we've got crackling, we've got no reverb, channel switching's okay, gain's okay, gain structure seems okay, and we're drawing about 100 watts from the wall, quiescent. So I reckon it's probably got some pretty tight EL84s because they buy some way fucking hot in these again, unless it's been modified. We've probably got some cracked solder joints, maybe a bad preamp valve or a noisy preamp valve as well. But cracked solder joints is most common in these because they're shit. Yeah. Problem is, Seth, if you do that, eventually end up with no customers. Because word spreads, mate. Sean, what you're saying there, the bias wiggle trim is getting unbalanced at the tube grids. It's not though, that's what I'm saying, leading to imperfect cancellation and thumping the output. It's got perfectly equal voltage on the grids, and even when I intentionally misbalance it, it never cancels out. So it's like the transconductance of the valves is different, but it's not either. And you swap them over and it doesn't follow the valve, it stays on the socket. You swap the plate, you swap the output transformer primaries around and it stays with the socket. You swap everything and it stays with the socket. So for a second there, in hindsight, I think what might have happened is the either the plate or screen grid was losing a connection. Probably the screen grid was losing a connection there when I was wiggling it, and that made the thump go away, but that's because conduction ceased. But you'd think that would throw it off massively and the thump would be more obvious. So I've got to investigate that too, like why now you've completely unbalanced the output stage. Why is there no thump at all then? Is it because the bias is getting thrown off so much? I don't know. Fucking frustrating, that's all I do know, and I'm gonna fucking go broke if I keep getting jobs like this. I'm just too stupid to repair them. I'm just not smart enough. Simple as that. Too fucking dumb. Only in the fucking industry because I'm dumb. Not an advisable career choice. That's for sure. You gotta take the fucking reverb tank with it because it's like hardwired. And they're always filthy because no one ever cleans their amps. Leave that for me to do, full of fucking pet fur and classic 30s are decent sounding amps. Problem is no one ever wants to put money in them to maintain them, so they end up just getting massive neglect, and then when they fail, as a result, people want them repaired for free, basically. I'm not sure why people think that just because an amp's cheap, it should be cheap to fix. But, you know, you tell them it's going to cost more than the thing's worth to look at. Usually people are fine, but they're like, oh, why? It's only worth fucking that. It's like, it could be worth $1. It still takes the same amount of work to repair. And, you know, the street price of a thing doesn't change. It doesn't suddenly mean that I can work on it 10 times quicker easily. And it won't require any parts. Like, speaker's hardwired as well. Oh, that's good. The speaker terminal thing the rivet just flew out because it's a shitty eminence. All the eminence rivets corrode and the heads of them come off. So you've got to drill out the speaker basket and re-rivet the tag board to it. It's got to spread the cheeks of the amp. I'm getting itchy from the pet fur already. Don't let your cat sleep in your amp, champ. Put them up against the wall. Shitty eminence or eminently shitty. A bit of both. Try not to rip the vinyl like everyone else does. Alright, so we're up for probably a recap. We've got some dead cockroaches. That's nice. Fuck me. And there's a cage nut, Kep's nut, rolling around in the chassis. Don't know what that's off. What's that off? Transformer? No? A ground point maybe? Is it just an extra from the factory? They just dropped one in there? That could have been shorting stuff out. Because the circuit board's very close to the chassis, so if you had that nut fall down and touch those link wires to the chassis, you'd have a short. So one very special thing that Peavey do. Can I disconnect that? No, you can't. Undo the RCAs at the other end. Let me just get this cabinet out of the way. Yeah, stock filters. They'd need replacing. This thing's probably from the early 90s. Of course, there'll be people out there that say you don't fix what ain't broke, but you tell that to a musician that's standing there like a stunned mullet where like amp stops working on stage during a paid gig and then they never get hired back. Let me just remove that comment saying that I found what was going on. Because I haven't found what's going on because I'm too fucking stupid. Brad, with the tremolo popping, did you remove the PI tube and recheck? Yes. Like I say, man, I tried everything. Nothing makes sense. Now these amps are an exercise in cheaping out. Everything they've done in it was to keep the amp under what was it, $800 or something, $1,000? I forget the price point, but they were trying to keep the amp under a certain price, but still be made in the USA. And they're a fucking pain in the ass to even sit on the bench. How did I sit them last time? Did I clamp it? I don't know. Who gives a fuck? if you have a look here, for some reason, someone thought it was a good idea to use hot melt glue in a fucking valve amp that gets hot. What does hot melt glue do when it gets hot? It fucking melts, right? So, all the diodes and everything are buried in this shmoo, which doesn't let them dissipate heat and can collect other shmoo on it and softens every time it heats up and absorbs crap from the atmosphere. We've got our stock caps there, so they're dated 26 week of 1995. We've got interesting phenomenon in this resistor there. The leads have got this crusty black shit on them. Ever seen that before? Like a corrosion or a reaction with the glue, maybe. The vibration has shaken that resistor quite a bit too, because there's a bit of the cement coming out of it. Down here, these resistors love to burn the board. 3 ohm resistors in series with the heater. The way they've done the heaters in this is mind-blowing, but it's the only way they could keep the price down and have a higher voltage, lower current winding for the heaters. Run them in series. They should have lifted them off the board at least. I've got some longer lead replacements there to do that. We've only got 200 ohm resistors out of 4 valves for the screen grids. So not only are they underrated for EL84, but the other 2 don't have any. So I cut traces and reroute them in order to have a separate resistor for each screen grid independently. If you've got one of these, I don't think this thing's ever been taken apart, but if you get one of these, it's been serviced quite a bit. You get these leads, links between them. We call them origami amps because they're folded up. Does anyone know any good amp repair mod guys in Canada? Yeah, I know a bunch of them, but whereabouts are you? Canada's a pretty big place. Where was I? Yeah, so they break. These leads love to break if they're folded back and forth a few times. All the solder connections for the sockets and everything like to crack because it's a very thin single-sided plated circuit boards with very small pads and small traces. Very low quality circuit board. These connections love to corrode as well. So yeah, I think I'll quote a recap on this one because he did want some preventative maintenance done to it. All the pots seem to be okay with, so that's good because they're hard to get. And we'll do the rework stuff to just make it a bit kinder on the EL84s. And that crackling, I dare say, is the EL84s on the way out. And if you have a look at them, you can see they've had a pretty rough life. There's a fair bit of metallization happening around the plate vents there. Some discoloration to the glass, particularly on this end one. So I think that one's probably the first one to go. See all the brown shit on the glass there? That's like materials getting evaporated off the elements and recondensing on the outputs. It looks like that plate's gotten very hot in that position there too, so this one might have red plated at some point or close to it. These valve retainers, just retensioned them a bit, but they were rattling like crazy to it. I don't like having the rattly metal on glass contact in a combo amp in particular. So yeah, I think just the run of the mill on this, but it's going to cost more than the amp's worth, so I'll tell him that. And it's not really the prettiest example. There's the other thing that they really cheaped out on is the plating on the chassis. So it's really thin, so it wears through and rusts. rather quickly. So just cleaning it's half the battle. See, it's primarily where there's dust. So dust sticks to it, and then it absorbs moisture, and then that moisture attacks the metal underneath. If you keep them clean, not like buffing it all the time because you wear the writing off, but just keep dust off them. That generally doesn't happen as quickly or at all. Just keeping them out of garages and stuff, anywhere where it's a high humidity environment, it's going to accelerate that as well. Alright, so I think I can throw a price at that one. He's probably going to go ahead because he loves it and he's had it since he was a teen, I believe. But yeah, it is going to cost. I don't know where this friggin' Keps nut came from. I can't see anywhere on there. All the transformer ones are all present. All the ground points. It could just literally be in there from the factory. It just fell in there and no one ever noticed. There is from memory a random screw on the back panel of these. Yep, there it is. Oh yeah, that's for the fuse holder. Yeah, so it's just had a Keps nut floating around in there since day dot. Amazing it hasn't caused any problems. A couple of pints on me, bro. Thanks, Eric. Bloody legend. I don't think I'll have time to have pints though. I'm trying to catch up here and it's never happening. I'm just going to cancel all the jobs, I think, and give them back to them. If I don't get them done by Christmas, everyone's going to have a fucking cry about it. So yeah, that's probably going to be like, yeah, including the valves and all the rework and everything, probably a good $600, and they're only going for like $500-600. But when you buy one for $500-600, you've got all the same issues. So that $500-600 will be what it takes to get rid of those issues and be reasonably reliable. I've worked on ones of them from 10 plus years ago, and I'm still in touch with the guys that own them, and I say, how's that going? And they go, mate, it hasn't missed a beat. So you're paying for 10 years of reliable service. Plus, it's a theft deterrent. No one's going to steal a classic 30. Why would you? What's next? Bogner, that doesn't really have an issue, I don't think. JCM 800 that I'm just putting an effects loop in, so that's not that interesting. What other diagnosis stuff have I got? I don't know. I could just go for a bike ride. That'd be nice. I've got to do a lot of paperwork. That's the problem. It's not really conducive to streaming. And there's a bunch of solid state amps here, but I kind of want to do them all at once. Got a bunch of Peavey solid state bass amps. $5, thanks, Gelato. I don't know how you say that. What are we talking about? What are Blue Jays? What? Is that a sporting team of some description? Buy old Peavey hard cases for my guitar's anti-theft device, yeah. If Brad is ever able to visit, if anyone ever is able to visit Brad's filing area of his workshop, I'll give you a reward if you subtly vandalize that positioning X in an amusing... I don't know what you're saying, bro. Stop trying to make me think. Are you talking about the penis in the background? That one? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know. Baseball. Baseball. Baseball's massive in Japan, eh? So, I threw out an idea today to Michelle that we go to Canada next year in June. And we're going to go to Japan on the way back again, because there's a stop over there, so we may as well spend another week there. So if that happens, I think that's prime baseball season, so we might try and get to a game in Japan, in Tokyo. Or somewhere. That'd be cool. So yeah, going to Canada, hopefully, for 2 weeks or so. We'll see. It's early days yet. We're just toying with the idea for the moment. It's like watching cars rust for me. Yeah, it's more the environment, Seth. If I go to a like a football game or something, it's more the atmosphere more than anything else. Looking for a good tech in the Toronto area to modify an SV20H. Bear with me. SV20H, you might get a few declining repairs, because there's not a lot you can do with them unless it's just a basic repair. So, Toronto. Where's Toronto? We have Synth Swen. That's fancy. See what he did there? I don't think they really do amps though. He might do. What else have we got nearby? In Hamilton, we've got my man Chris Church, Church Audio. We've got Derek Lawrence at Anodyne Audio Service in Kitchener or nearby. And Equilibrium Audio Group at Kitchener. That's Josh Snyder. Fairbairn. So that's not too far from Toronto, but right in Toronto, we've only got a synth man. But we've got some guys in Hamilton. It's only how far away is that? There's no scale. Yeah, try out those. Just rewind and search what I said. Aight. Whereabouts in Canada? I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. I don't know. We're getting around. We haven't formulated a solid plan yet. We're just playing with ideas. We're obviously catching up with some people over there too. It's going to be weird being that close to the US and not seeing my US mates, but fuck trying to get into your country at the moment. Too risky. I'm actually closer to Hamilton. Okay. Yeah, we'll go see Chris Church Audio. You'll be able to find him online. He's the guitar amp repair king in that area. Stupid fucking massive Peavey amps. You know what? These amps didn't need to be this big. It's really dumb that they're this big. Because what have they got inside? A whole shit ton of air. Look at that. There's nothing in it, bro. You just got the transformer there. You got the big empty air gap in the middle. And the heat sinks are on the back. So yeah, pretty dumb amps. But, you know, they're reasonably powerful and reliable for the time. But again, they're all starting to get to the end of life. This one's scratchy. So all the pots will be dirty. But all the soldering connections look good. We've got some snapped... It just smells like someone's garage. Musty. We've got a snapped off thing there. Why have we got a round knob? They're all present. We've got a replacement knob there, but it's one of these, and they're all there. We need one of these. Oh, it's snapped off. Okay, sorry. I'm the whole shaft is snapped off. Righto. So that pot's going to be a nightmare to replace. Oh no, it's one of the spider ones, but there's no connection to the spider, so you just mount it to the chassis and run wires to it. It's just going to be a pain in the ass to fix off to the front panel without having wires that are 6 inches long. But that's doable. That's the high frequency shelving. You can see it's a plastic shafted pot, so they just snap off when you look at them, because as the units get older, the plastic gets more brittle and breaks easier, but if it cops a hit, doesn't matter how old it is, it's just shearing that thing off. So one thing with Peaveys is they have internal part numbers on the fucking transistors. So they'll be an off the shelf for probably a 2N3055 or whatever. But they had some deal with Motorola where they put the internal Peavey part numbers on them, so you had to buy the parts from Peavey. So a 70, somewhere someone made a cross-reference sheet. So a 70484140. What is that? Peavey transistor reference chart. Peavey semiconductor cross-reference list. Yes, first result. AI summary. Fuck off. Fuck off. What was the number? 4140. 4249. Download free for 30 days. Just give me the fucking file and shut up. Scribed. Fuck off with you, scribed. Let's try somewhere else. Scribed can suck my penis. I'm not creating an account. Get fucked. Here we go. Somewhere else. Someone else just had it downloadable. Oh, searchable. 40, was it 4140? No matches were found. Fuck. We probably don't need them anyway. They're probably fine. It's probably just scratchy. I'm just doing it out of interest. Oh, there it is. 70484140. It is a 2N3772. But the same number, maybe they changed it at some point, is also an MJ15003. Is that what I said before? No, I said 3055. That's 70483100. So yeah, just to show what I'm looking at. Sorry, I just realised I wasn't desk sharing. So this is the original in-house part number, alternate in-house number, field replacement number, order number. So that's the number that's printed on the transistors. You can see here that this number is printed on all the output devices, so it's probably a quasi-complementary output stage, which is less than ideal for various reasons, but as opposed to a fully complementary output stage. So at some point it was probably this transistor, and at some point they probably changed to this transistor. But both of them have the same internal part code, and that's what's printed on the actual device. Oh, hang on, yeah. So I thought it was this one off the top of my head. So they must have used all these different transistors under that one part code because they're all cross-compatible. Or close enough for these purposes. They might have different current ratings and stuff, but there you go. So if you're ever repairing a Peavey amp and wondering what these codes are, that's because Peavey just wanted to be difficult, so... I'm getting the sense that you like signing up for apps. Yeah, absolutely. There's a motorcycle museum up the Central Coast, or a bit beyond it. I must drop... Is it Nabiac? I forget the suburb, but yeah, there's a motorcycle museum I keep meaning to drop into every time I pass it, and I never do. So, have I got a replacement knob for that fader? Maybe cannot. Faders are always a pain in the ass to find suitable knobs for. There's so many different types. Knobs. Wonder if one of these will work. I think these are generic ones that suit Allen and Heath mixers, but no, they're to suit the massive, long, sort of T-shaped actuator. They're a bit retro. No, doesn't fit. Like a dick in a shirt sleeve. He's like sleeve of wizard. What about that one? That's too small, is it? No. That'll work. Doesn't look identical, but close enough. See? It's always good to have a bunch of knobs floating around. Is it Nabiac? Good bakery. Yeah, there it is. Bang. Right in the center of town. The National Motorcycle Museum. National Motorcycle Museum. Let's just have a look on maps. So there it is. Inland a bit. So that's just past Seal Rocks, Foster. So I'm down here. Nabiac's up there. Coffs, it's about halfway to Coffs. And Coffs Harbour's about 3/4 of the way to the Gold Coast. So I used to often ride my motorcycle, as Bert Munro would say it, from Sydney to Queensland, Gold Coast, or thereabouts. So So that's about a, what is 700, 800K, something like that. So yeah, I'd ride through Nabiac and always think, oh, I should stop there, but I never have time. I'm always trying to get somewhere. It looks really good. Can I get a bigger screen, please? No? Google? Fucking useless pile of shit. Oh, it closes soon. We can still get there. 3 PM. No, we can't. That's an hour away. Can I please have a link? There we go. I gotta buy tickets. That's it. Maybe that's why I haven't done it. Galleries. AJS. BSA. Daimler. How many B's have they got? Got a lightning? No lightning. Bantam. What have they got from AJS? Wow. Scrambler. Nice. Got any Aprilia? No. Doesn't make the cut. Ooh, MV. Oh, F4. Ever since I saw Angelina Jolie riding one and gone in 60 seconds. Velocet. Chunky. I'd like to see some better photography though. Come on guys. Get some lighting on that shit. Norton. How many Nortons? Fuck, they look muscular, eh? The drum brakes, you got all that engine and frame. Probably 200 kilos a bike, and then you got a drum brake for the front end. Anyone riding a modern bike would get on that and go, oh shit. It's got the oil drip tray under it. Dem's English bikes, brother. So yeah, let's try and get there. Oh, they do a swap meet. Pretty cool. Annual event. Oh, 2020 is cancelled. I think you got to update your website there, champions. What yammies have we got? TZ. There's been a bit of a resurgence of CB350s since the girl with the dragon tattoo came out and she rides one. Lisbeth. Got any Desmos? Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Back to work. Bunch of knobs floating around. Old man bedtime. See ya, Alan. Take it easy, mate. I've got 3 Manx Nortons in the shed. Yes. That's awesome. Yeah, anyway, I must try and get there. Let's fire this thing up. Just see if there's any DC on the output. See what the main complaint is. Hopefully it's just a service. But yeah, you're talking getting to the point where, again, it's like an early 90s. Do you recap it? This guy's got a ton of amps, so he's probably happy to just... He doesn't use it that often because he's got so many different amps. So he'll probably just get it serviced as is, and if there's problems in the future, he'll deal with it then. Does it have a power lead? Yeah. Look, Peaveys have non-detachable power leads, which is a bit annoying. Oh, that's no good. Don't want to plug that in. Why did they put tape over it? Fucking hate these things. Just like to replace the lead. Don't like using them at all because it's at the mercy of whoever fucks with it. I like just having the sealed molded ones. Alright, well, it's right wired correctly. Not sure why it had tape on it. Everything's tight. 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 Huh. Bit of tape. Coming along for the ride. Ow. Just folded it on my finger. I hate these friggin' plugs, man. I'm gonna just push it against the edge of a bench to get the boot back on. IEC leads all the way, brother. Don't know why anyone would use a non-detachable lead anymore. IEC leads are great because you damage it, you just throw it in the bin and get a new one. You can disconnect it for traveling. Saw someone arguing that they're shit because you can forget them, but yeah, you can forget your friggin' guitar lead too. Just don't. But even if you do, they're ubiquitous. Everyone's got a spare. Ubiquitous. All right. Healthy hum. 20 watts from the wall. Let's check those speaker terminals. Where's me freaking leads? Wrong one. .00. It's good. Normally you get a bit of an offset, but .1 millivolt. Probably about 1.5 millivolts of noise. Alright, I'm happy to plug a speaker into that and have a quick listen to the performance of the front end. On the signal generator. Got 500 millivolts peak to peak. Turn the signal on, which I always forget to do. Square wave. EQ. Alright, everything's working as is, a little bit scratchy. Let's see what the output can do. Let's change it up about 400 hertz. Turn off your cabinet mic. Go into the dummy load into 4 ohms. Fire up the spare Fluke. Oh, she's hitting the wall at 23 volts RMS into 4 ohms. Hitting a limiter. 24 volts RMS. So it's about 144 watts. What's this thing rated at? 150 watts into 4 ohms. It's a big amp for 150 watts, bro. More of Borat quotes, please. Yeah, I haven't said a Borat quote for a while. I think Borat's a bit old hat, mate. So yeah, just a clean and lube, basically. Sweet as. The old Peaveys. Got a reputation for being shit, but this generation were pretty fucking reliable. Low performance, but reliable. I can shoot ahead with that one since it's just a basic service, clean and service. But I'll do that tomorrow. At the moment, we're just assessing that thing. Rightio. Speaking of massive, heavy, underpowered fucking amps. It's like the friggin' Lincoln Continental of bass amps. Acoustic 370. I'm not going to fire this one up because he was poking around and had the chassis open for some reason, and a guitar string went in and shorted stuff out and blew up the output stage. So I think we've got a blown output stage. I said may or may not be viable to repair because getting TO3 transistors in match sets these days is pretty much not happening. How do you get this monster out of the friggin' cabinet? Is this being held in by one screw? Really? Oh, it's probably held in by the handle. Just put these Peavey screws with the Peavey amp in a little baggie. Rusted screw. Use cheese to bait it out of the enclosure. It did just squeak at me, I guess. Alright, so there's one screw on the bottom, one missing. On the other side, we've got this big cast aluminium handle with Phillips number 3s. Between signing up for apps and having to give my valued customer feedback, I'm going to burn down a Taco Bell one day. It's shit, isn't it? Oh, please give us your feedback. No, fuck off. Just sell me the thing and leave me alone. So annoying, man. Like I said the other day, I bought... What was it? I bought one thing off a company and 8 emails, man. You get the... Welcome to your account. Even though I checked out as guest, it signed me up to an account. And then... You know, one way of doing it, I guess. It signed me up to an account, and then it gave me a welcome email, and then I got an order confirmation. I got a, we are preparing your order confirmation. I got a, we have shipped your order confirmation. Then I got a, we have received your order from the post office notification. Then I started getting the feedback requests more and more aggressively, and then I blocked their email account. Fuck off. Alright, so which way do you want to come out? Out through the back? Wait. Why has this got a European courtesy socket? No, it's 250 volt, 240 volt. I think I might have to flip it on its head, because these screws are going to get caught in this weird cutout. Is that their idea of heat dissipation? Just having a cutout in the cabinet for the... Really? This is why I say, just because it's old doesn't mean it's good, bro. The amount of weight in this thing, and what is it, only 370 watts? Man. All right. Look at the size of the caps, would you? Look at the size of the caps. Alright, so they don't build them like they used to, and thank fuck for that. Because look at this thing. You've got a 7800 MFD. Is that microfarad? 7800 microfarad 100 volt cap. It's not megafarad. So let me just show you something, champions. This cap here is 10,000 microfarad 100 volt. Jamicon. This cap here, just compare the two. This cap that's bolted to the chassis is 7800, so less capacitance, same voltage rating. Look at the size difference. Crazy. And we've got some other ones as well, which I can't read because they're in the chassis clamps. But again, there's a lot of air in this thing. Didn't have to be this fucking big or chunky. And there seems to be almost no heat mitigation at all. So yeah, like I say, they don't build them like this anymore, and that's a good thing. You're literally relying on that little bit of chassis that was showing at the bottom of the cabinet for heat dissipation, because all of these output devices, 8 of them, are mounted on a big bit of channel. See the profile there. And then they're just hardwired with bus wire, which is able to touch each other, which would be exciting. So what reportedly happened is a guitar string fell in there and shorted some of these bare wires out. Making them out of bare wires is dumb too. Yeah, and they can easily touch each other if they're bumped. There's been some repairs here before, because you can see under some resistors there's burn marks on the PCB that have been since cleaned up. Need a bit more light here. You can see under that brown resistor there, there's a hole in the board. It's been scratched away, burn marks. Knew that Foster's made caps. Jamicon, yeah. Yeah, someone commented on a video recently that the reason they've all got con in the name is because it comes from the previous term for capacitors, which was condenser. Because they used to make them out of jars that had a layer of metal condensed on them. They called them condensers. I believe that was why. Back in the day. Yeah, we've got a short there somewhere. These output devices are in sockets, so you can get a little socket on the end of that ratchet, and I should be able to remove them without desoldering anything. I guess that was still the state of mind that these things aren't very reliable. Let's put them in sockets. Oh god, everything's fighting me today. Few electronics books still call them condensers too. Yeah, the real old school dudes probably still call them that, but yeah, we try and be a bit more up to date than that, don't we, champs? Oh, of course it's not metric. Be imperial, you silly bugger. That's the one. Oh, they're all very loose anyway. So yeah, like I say, finding reliable CO3 output devices is getting trickier. There's a lot of shit out there and stuff that's been pulled from other gear. Has anyone here actually drunk a Foster's beer? I never have. You have, Wes. Was that when you were over here? You were over here at one point, weren't you? Alright, so this heat transfer compound could very likely be beryllium. So I don't really want to touch it. I might put some gloves on for this. On the older amps, you can have... oh, that was just dust. You can have beryllium oxide, I think it is. It's not friendly stuff. It's extremely carcinogenic. And not just to the state of California either. Everywhere. Gloves. Do I have gloves? Probably not, because I'm... Oh yeah, I do. Wow. Had a repair in. Symptom was no output. Opened it up and found the owner's toddler had stuck an entire guitar string in the input jack, short of the input signal to ground, but no other damage. Wow, that's lucky. Think of all the chaos that could have done. Around the time of the Crocodile Dundee movie. That was a good movie. Alright. I'm ready to smoke a brisket. Or cut one up anyway. Now I can't grip anything. Yay! Yeah, see, it's got this blue shit. I've never seen blue stuff before. Strange. And the mica washer. 2N3773. That was the ones we just looked at in the Peavey on the comparison chart. You know what? From the previous tech, there's blue shit on the chassis here. So he's got it everywhere. Rest in peace. I don't know, it could be perfectly inert stuff, but how do you know? Smurf tears. Smurf jizz. Where'd the other mica washer go? I heard it drop. How could it have just disappeared? Oh, there it is. How did it end up on that side? Must have gone under the circuit board. Alright, which one's short? Are they all short? Oh, this is super difficult. Oh, good. What? On the other side. So there mustn't be... Yeah, what is going on here?
Got 3 leads there. You got 3 in parallel, and you got one over here. It seems to be part of the other, one on the other side. Is that the driver? Might have to find a schematic for this one. I have seen it floating around before, so I know it's out there somewhere. So just held on by the pots. I don't think so, Wes. It's just whatever colour it is. Whatever it is, it's soluble in isopropyl. That thumping problem in the beginning of the stream is often caused by asymmetry. Been there, done that, bro. Asymmetry in the PI. Who's when those decoupling caps are of high value, 100 nanofarad, especially in the case of cathodione PI. The voltage was exactly the same on both grids, so not the case. Large cans were a novelty in the US. They were very common in Europe. The big 5 or 440 ml or whatever they are, like a pint. First time I saw them was a photo of Metallica in the 80s. Drinking cans of them in the back of a ute out front of one of their houses when they were just fucking teenagers. I thought, I've got to get me some big cans so I can be cool like Metallica. They just played in Melbourne last night. My mate went to see them down there. The Metallicats, and my mate in Adelaide saw them the night before that. Busy boys. Old bastards. There's a broken off wire here on that switch. The bright switch. It looks like it's been cut off and then it was resoldered and then the resoldered joint fucked up. Probably because someone realised you've got to unsolder it to remove the board and didn't want to, so they just cut it. And then did a dodgy job resoldering it later. Hack techs everywhere, brother. Someone's played knifey spoony before. Thicker heat paste than mine. Oh, okay. It's on DigiKey, is it? So it might be alright. Might be safe. Here's me being Safety Steve with my gloves. So it makes me feel like Lewis Rossman working on a MacBook. There's not much fine motor control wearing these though. That's before I start drinking on the job too. Fuck. Let's check those caps aren't charged. Because a big cap like that, although you know it is comically large, could still pack a bit of a bang if it shorts out. And scare the urine out of my wee wee. No, we're still good. Nothing in there. There is a house in New Orleans. There is a couple of caps there on the mains which aren't X2 class, which I don't like having there. They shouldn't be in place according to current standards. There is a fuse holder that's had the back end smashed out of it, just like your mum. So I'm not sure what happened there either. Oh, it's just... What? Okay. So they've got a mains fuse and then they've got a slot for a spare. Literally just installed a second fuse holder. I'm not going to... Okay, I will move it. They've literally just installed a second fuse holder with no connection. Just to have a spare fuse housed. That's pretty funny. See that? 240 volt, 3 amp slow blow, and then spare. So originally that would have had no fuse, that would have had just spare fuse and no connections on the back. However, the back end of that fuse holder has been smashed, which you probably can't see. I'll get my little spare lamp. Oh, no, don't want red. There you go. See down there? The rear end of that fuse holder's missing, smashed off. And they've just wired the mains to the other one. Interesting. So apparently these things sound really good, but not in this state it doesn't. Where's my socket? There it is. Well, this is fun. Is it not? I've got 64 people. Brad and other Aussies who are the legit scar bands over there asking for booking reasons, like who's fun. I don't know at the moment. Scar's not really a thing. A scene at the moment. I'm sure there's ones out there, but back in the day it was like the Porkers. Who else? Scar. Scar certainly had a moment, didn't it? Or resurgence in the 90s. Sure there's ones there, but I'm not off the top of my head familiar. What show are you running that you need to know about Aussie Scar bands? You putting a show on over here? Or are you in a band that's touring over here soon? And you play Scar? So if this is a DigiKey product, it probably has had a replaced output stage not massively long ago. Fuck's sake. Shit catching on shit. Wrong way. No shorts. So it must be upstream. Yep. All right, what do we got? There's a fucking push button switch on the board. What's that all about? Look at that. See a little push button down there? You look at the other side. And it's got this old school sort of layered, stacked up switch down there. Crazy. Illinois capacitor. Old school. So I think I'll need a schematic for this because I've reached the end of my tether. Could be a shorted cap. No. That's the output. It would be a half rail. One of those caps would be the output cap because it wouldn't have a the reason there's only one big fuck off cap is because there's only one rail. It doesn't have a bipolar supply, and as such, the output would be sitting at half the supply voltage. So they isolate that from the speaker with a big fuck off cap. So the main reason for that is back in the day, they were able to develop high quality, heavy duty, reliable NPN transistors quite some time before they were able to do the same with PNP. So all the output devices had to be NPN. So it's either that or later on came quasi-complementary stages which were inherently asymmetrical. So the distortion went through the roof at higher levels. But good enough for rock and roll. For a bass amp, who cares? Just got to rattle your teeth, mate, that's all.
Acoustic. Alright, just getting the manual champions, sorry, bear with me. The instruction manual has the schematic at the end. Shock horror. Can you imagine a company doing that these days? 370 manual. So it's got all the specs. Hang on, let's go. It's got all the specs there. 205 watts RMS. All that weight. And 1.6 ohm load. 10% distortion, 365. You're really pushing shit to the limit there. So say 3.2 ohms, so we'll say it's only a 200 watt amp and it weighs a fucking ton. And it's huge. So one must ask, why bother repairing it? That's your EQ. Output stage over here. You got no you got no emitter resistors there, so it's going to be a bit thermally unstable. Yeah, not great. So Q306, what are you? Oh, I can't stop yawning. Fuck it. I need to go back to bed, man. What are the part numbers? Okay, so the switch is used for calibration. Interesting. Won't tell me what parts are what. Right, so if we've got a short from there to there. Oh, hang on. 1.0. Won't be short at all. That's bloody 1 ohm resistor. I've got to refresh my memory on this design because it is so antiquated. I don't see them often, but see it's got like 1 ohm resistor there, and a 100 ohm there. So if I was measuring between that pin and that pin, we're seeing the 1 ohm resistor. And it's coming up as a short. And you got your 0.1, which is the 10 watter on the board there. So there's probably nothing at all wrong with it. What's he talking about with blowing up output stage and how does he know? Fuck, can't stop yawning. I'd go home for a nap. What time is it? Almost 3 o'clock. Yeah, that's at 1 ohm. Same again there. Because all my books on this kind of amp design, they just say, here's a quasi-complementary output stage. We've just put it here for completeness. They're fucking stupid. Don't build them. Next chapter. So I'm gonna have to dig up some older literature on them because I don't fuck with them much. You see there's that cap on the output. That's one of the large caps there. 3900 microfarad because of low impedance. Low impedance to the output. Alright, I might put this thing on the Variac and just check that there's no. That's the other thing. I'll just check the bridge, check that there's no shorts, and if not, I'll just quote for a bit of a resto. But it's really underpowered, man. Unless you're sentimentally attached to the thing, there's not much point restoring it. It's so heavy and friggin' ancient and underpowered. No shorts on the rectifier. Yeah, nothing's gone bang. I don't like these resistor clamps. They can rub through the insulation. If they're not connected to anything, it's not the end of the world, but you could short windings. See the clamps on the resistors there? I don't like anything touching the resistors, really. I think that's wide ass about if the black is active. Oh, I can't stop yawning. I think I'm gonna go. I'm friggin' hit the wall, man. I'm very disappointed with that Vibrolux piece of shit. And lost momentum after that, didn't I? But I can feel my body telling me to go away and not be at work for 24/7. So I'm going to call it there, champions. Take it squeezy before I start falling asleep at the bench. Should go for a walk, get some exercise. I don't think it's raining. This is a Suzuki pair output stage. Yeah, I'm going to have to have a look, Sean. I can't remember my unipolar power supply, power amplifier output configurations. I'll do a bit of reading tonight and just establish which exact one it is and why it's got a 1 ohm resistor from the base to the emitter. I did quickly read about one last night, but it was only briefly. Anyway, legends, take it easy. I'm going to go to bed. It's 3 PM. Go have a life, buddy. Not likely, Wes. Not until I learn how to solve problems quicker. You get punished by fate for trying to figure out things. Just every time you think you're sort of starting to get somewhere, you get a job that just makes you feel like the stupidest fuck in the world. And I've got a few of them at the moment, so don't know why you watch me, but anyway. PMP driving MPN. Yeah, it's got low current PNP down the bottom there. Q310. But yeah, I haven't measured anything that indicates that anything's out of the ordinary. And that's my phone calling with my lovely wife on the other end. So I'll see you later, champs. Take it easy.